one thing is very clear. The Indiana Fever is America's team. And boy, the haters, by the time this season is over.
Imagine a scenario where every time one superstar steps onto the hardwood, entire franchises rethink their venue strategies. This season, the ripple effect is undeniable. Teams that once prided themselves on the intimacy of their traditional home courts are now orchestrating strategic moves to accommodate the unprecedented draw of Caitlin Clark. Whether it's the Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky, or even teams like Connecticut Sun and Dallas Wings, a clear pattern has emerged. A complete willingness to trade the comfort of their usual arena for a larger stage that can truly capture the energy of a sellout crowd. In this era, it's as though the Indiana Fever have transformed from a mid-tier franchise into a bona fide national attraction. Not only are they packing arenas that could typically host NBA games, but they are also shifting the very economics of how and where games are played. One might say that while other teams are still debating the best tactics or player rotations, the Fever's front office is making bold moves by scheduling their games in NBA standard arenas with capacities of 15,000 seats or more. And it isn't for reasons of tradition or comfort, it's purely a reaction to the Clark effect. The phenomenon isn't confined solely to the on-court heroics of Caitlin Clark. It's visible in every metric: ticket sales, national television slots, and even in the marketing decisions of franchises across the league.
Their heads are going to have exploded already. They're going to be so angry by the end of this WNBA season. I mean, it's going to be hilarious watching the daily meltdown.
When you take a closer look at the data, one fact is abundantly clear: there is a quantifiable, almost mathematical spike in attendance figures every time Clark appears in a game. Prior to her arrival, average attendances in the league were modest, reflecting the tight-knit, community-centered nature of women's basketball. Now, these numbers have leaped from the 6,000 mark to the 20,000-plus range in many arenas. Consider this. Before this season, the idea of a WNBA game regularly filling an arena built for an NBA franchise was almost unthinkable. Yet, in the wake of Clark's influence, 6 teams have boldly restructured their schedules. The Atlanta Dream, for example, have committed to hosting at least one home game in a venue that usually echoes with the roars of NBA crowds. The Chicago Sky, long known for their high-energy play, have not just one but 2 games scheduled at the iconic United Center.
In NBA arenas, we've got rival fans being furious that, Caitlin Clark is that she's getting new arenas, getting moved to new arenas.
This isn't a case of one-off novelty. It's a strategic shift that redefines how the league operates. Reflect on the fact that entire franchises are willingly leaving their own backyards to host games in cities known for their NBA legacies. When the Connecticut Sun decide to play in TD Garden home to an NBA giant like the Boston Celtics, it sends a powerful message. It says that when a star of Caitlin Clark's magnitude is in town, the usual sense of home is less significant than the opportunity to play in a venue that mirrors the energy and scale of professional basketball at its highest level. This shift isn't merely cosmetic. It fundamentally alters the atmosphere of the games. Imagine the bustling corridors of the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, or the electric vibe at the American Airlines Center in Dallas. These aren't places where you'd expect to see a WNBA game on a regular basis, yet the lure of watching Clark in action has made these NBA-caliber arenas the new norm for select matchups. This isn't just a vote of confidence in her abilities, it's a clear statement that the presence of one player can redefine what it means to host a major sporting event. The transformation extends beyond the excitement of high-capacity arenas and into the very economics of the league. With each sold-out game, the revenue streams for franchises are reimagined, bringing in new sponsorship deals, better television contracts, and, crucially, a broader national audience. Networks like ESPN, ABC, CBS, and NBA TV are now in fierce competition to secure national broadcast slots for games featuring the Indiana Fever.
There are 6 WNBA teams that have moved their games to NBA or NBA side.
And by extension, for games where Caitlin Clark is the main draw. It's not hyperbole to say that Clark's influence has reshaped the WNBA's broadcast model. Whereas earlier, only a handful of games received national exposure, the current schedule now boasts an unprecedented 41 nationally televised matchups for one team in a single season, a record-breaking figure by any standard. For fans, this is not just about witnessing high-quality basketball. It's about being part of a nationwide cultural moment where every tip-off is a chance to watch history in the making. No transformation of this scale occurs in a vacuum. The power of social media has been a catalyst for this change, and nowhere is that more evident than in the fervor surrounding Clark's every game.
At the stage where Caitlin Clark is probably going to be responsible, I'm not joking when I say this, for like games where she plays in are probably going to be responsible for like 30% of the attendance at the WNBA.
The reverberations of this shift have also sparked intense debates about team identity and rivalry. Rival franchises, once buoyed by the promise of local legends and enduring traditions, are now forced to confront the stark reality that their own marquee attractions might pale in comparison to Clark's allure. It's not simply that the numbers speak for themselves, the entire narrative around the sport is changing. Rivalries that once centered on competitive balance and hard-fought victories are now being redefined by the sheer magnetic pull of a single superstar. Take, for example, the ongoing storyline involving Angel Reese. Once touted as the inevitable face of women's basketball and a potential rival to Clark, Reese now finds herself in an uncomfortable predicament. Instead of challenging Clark's primacy on equal footing, the dialogue has shifted to one where even the most ardent supporters of Reese must acknowledge the staggering impact of Clark's performances. Every time the Indiana Fever take to an NBA arena, it isn't just a home game, it's a statement that echoes throughout the league. The sky-high attendance figures, the media frenzy, and the lucrative broadcast deals all underscore a singular truth.
Playing the NBA arena, the Seattle Storm do. There are 13 WNBA teams, 7 already playing NBA arenas. The other 6 are moving their games to NBA arenas versus the Fever.
When Clark is on the court, she isn't just playing a game. She's rewriting the script of professional women's basketball. The shift in attention toward Caitlin Clark has also forced league executives and marketing teams to reassess their long-term strategy. In past seasons, the WNBA's promotional efforts were spread relatively evenly among a host of talented players. The rationale was clear. By spotlighting a broad range of stars, the league could cultivate a diverse fan base and avoid alienating any particular segment of its audience. However, the unprecedented draw of Clark has rendered that approach almost obsolete. The league is now faced with a conundrum: how to balance the celebration of a singular superstar's magnetic appeal with the need to nurture a competitive, multi-talented roster of players. For the management teams of franchises across the board, this is a call to rethink everything from ticket pricing to broadcast scheduling. When a game featuring the Fever is booked in an NBA arena, the financial implications are enormous. Beyond simply accommodating larger crowds, these venues bring with them higher production values, improved broadcast setups, and a level of prestige that trickles down to every aspect of the team's image. The decision to host a game in a venue that normally seats 15,000 fans isn't taken lightly. It reflects a calculated risk that the increased revenue and national exposure will outweigh the loss of a familiar home court environment. And so far, the numbers support that bet. If we zoom out and look at the broader sports landscape, the changes underway in the WNBA are reminiscent of shifts seen in other major leagues.
Most television games in franchise history, the most national television games for a single team in WNBA history.
In the NFL, for instance, franchises have long capitalized on the celebrity status of marquee players to drive ticket sales, merchandise, and even television ratings. The phenomenon isn't entirely new. It's simply a matter of scale and timing.
WNBA needs to do everything they can to promote Caitlin Clark. And I'm not saying do it at the expense.
In today's media environment, where every game is a potential viral moment and every highlight reel can be shared around the world in seconds, the pressure to capture national attention is immense. Caitlin Clark has managed to harness that potential in a way that few athletes have before her. Her ability to electrify an arena, turning routine games into must-see events, has forced not just her team, but the entire league to recalibrate its priorities. The strategy is clear. If you want to remain relevant in a crowded sports market, you need to play to the strengths of your biggest asset.
Of anyone else. But they went into last season basically trying to promote anyone but Caitlin Clark for I don't know what reason.
For the Indiana Fever and their counterparts who are willing to move their games to NBA standard venues, this is a golden opportunity. The increased capacity means more ticket sales, more merchandise, and ultimately a more vibrant and competitive league. It's an economic blueprint that other sports leagues have employed, but it's especially poignant here because it underscores a fundamental truth. In professional sports, the drawing power of a superstar can redefine the business model itself. Another dimension of this transformation is the profound impact on fan culture. For decades, the WNBA was celebrated for its intimate, community-centered atmosphere. Fans cherished the accessibility of the players, the closeness of the action, and the sense of being part of a tight-knit sporting family. However, as more games shift to larger arenas, a new dynamic emerges, one where the sheer spectacle and scale of the event begin to dominate. While there may be a nostalgic pull for the old guard who miss the charm of a smaller venue, the reality is that larger arenas bring in a broader audience, including casual fans who might not have